is the highway. Let's see how the 398 does. Plenty of takeoff power. So 65 actually feels maybe even a little bit smoother than 60. Seems like there's just a certain RPM that you hit that's just like a sweet spot where it's just very smooth. That's nice. I feel like the seat maybe picks up a little vibration then, but the bars seem to calm down. As far as the handling, definitely feels nice and solid. Maybe a touch squirrely if you give the bars a little bit of input, which of course you don't want to do, but in certain situations when you're trying to get around cars or emergency situations, you might have to twist the bars quick. So I like to, not that I'm suggesting that you should do that, but I like to kind of get a feel for it just so I know how the bike's going to react. 70 miles an hour, the bars definitely pick up some vibrations. Is it enough that it would make your hands go numb after a while? Possibly. It's certainly not a pleasant feeling, and maybe some different grips would help that. The rest of the bike feels good. Maybe picking up a little bit of vibration through the rubber inserts and the foot pegs. Not much. Seat feels okay, and I'm kind of sitting almost on the strap of the seat. Kind of get down a little bit more, and it really is not bad. I mean, it's certainly doable to ride it at this speed. It's just not something that I think is going to be incredibly enjoyable, just because the handlebars really do move quite a bit. The engine, however, I mean, does not feel stressed. There certainly isn't as much get up and go power there yet, but there is some. If we go to 55, yeah, then it feels like the engine could maybe use a drop-in gear. Let's try that. 55 or 65. Drop to 4th, move to 70. Yeah, not a ton of power, but there's some there. Enough. So I think it's certainly capable. It's just a matter of maybe finding something that'll smooth the bars out a little bit more. But other than that, yeah, I mean, I think this bike is probably better on the highway, or at 70 anyway, than I remember the old DRZ400 being. And you guys that have the old DRZs have to let me know how your riding experience compares to what I've described. Obviously I have no wind protection, so I'm getting blown around quite a bit. It's not really my favorite thing, but I mean, if you have to hop on the highway for just a little bit, it's certainly doable. I think eventually I'll probably put a little bit of wind protection on here, but honestly, I think this bike is just about at its prime at right around 60, and then you don't really need the extra wind protection or anything. It just is a much nicer speed to cruise at, and much safer too. But of course, some of us have to get on the highway sometimes, and I think this is certainly a bike that can do it. It's just not a bike that I would buy specifically to do it, or to do it for a long time. The seat is certainly not what I would call comfortable, partially because I'm sitting on that strap, but just in general, the XR and the DR seats are much wider and much nicer to sit on. This one, my butt gets pretty sore pretty quick. But the bars as low as they are, I feel like I kind of have a hard time finding a comfy place to sit. I think maybe just removing that strap would help, because that's about where I want to sit, but after a while I can kind of feel that start to dig into me. I feel like that engine has got to be running at just a slightly decreased RPM in comparison to the DRZ400. I just don't remember it feeling this smooth at 70. I feel like it almost has to be a taller fifth. Either that or whatever they did with the gears, they're reducing the windage or windage. I guess seems like it helped, because this motor, or whatever improvements they made to the engine, is it really, I mean, it does seem like it handles this quite well, a lot better than the previous. If you really think about it, I mean, the bars do have that vibration, but if you give them just the right amount of grip, I don't know. I don't know if I'm just getting used to it or what, but it almost does seem like it's going away a bit. The RPM and load on the motor definitely has a lot to do with it. But boy, now I don't know, it really doesn't feel that bad at 70. I think it still vibrates, I would say, less overall than the XR, the DR, or the 701 at 70 miles an hour. Certainly feels like it has plenty of go yet for passing if you need to. Mirrors work relatively well. A little bit of vibration to them, but not as bad as the 701. Yeah, I don't know. My initial assessment was that they just picked up so much vibration, but I guess maybe that is just because, well, from 60 to 70 they do pick up some vibration. Certainly not enjoying the wind blowing me all around, especially after riding the XR650 with the nice windshield that I've got on it now. Why does it feel like this calmed down? This has got to be smoother at 70 miles an hour than the old one. It just has to be. I think maybe just the bars picking up that vibration just was a bit of a shock about 60. Yeah, you can definitely tell the vibes drop a bit. And I suppose my hands maybe do feel a tad funny. Yeah, I mean, it's not something you're going to want to do for 8 hours at a time, but obviously that's not what this bike was intended to do. But man, this feels really pretty good at 70. That seems to handle nice too. Here's some bumps. I certainly feel tall and, you know, way up in the air. I mean, you definitely don't need 11 inches of ground clearance or whatever this has for highway riding. Lowering it would probably make it feel a little bit better at these speeds. But boy, I mean, this is not a bad highway bike at all. Not a bad bike on the highway. It's a bad highway bike, if that's what you're buying it for. A lot of you guys are saying that you didn't think this was worth it specifically, or wouldn't buy it specifically because it doesn't have a 6th gear, but I think maybe they did the right thing by keeping the bike a little bit lighter, a little bit more simple without a 6th gear, and just by moving this 5th up like they did. I just can't believe they didn't advertise that or say something about it. But I mean, I think it's got to be taller. If it's not, like I said, whatever they did to the motor and transmission and gears sure seems to have helped it out. And this is more fueling, I think, than anything, but at 70, if I drop the throttle, I mean, if I drop it to nothing, I mean, it's totally fine. It's not like it's wound out. What an awesome machine, Suzuki. I definitely underestimated you. Yeah, I mean, those bars are vibrating, but it is really not that bad. It is, I think, something that's definitely doable for at least an hour or so, if not more, if you had to. Got probably 20 some miles on the highway so far. And yeah, my biggest complaint is just my butt, really, on this uncomfortable seat. Everything else feels pretty darn good. Even the wind doesn't bother me that much, as long as I'm not getting a crosswind. Moving around a bit certainly feels comfortable enough. I suppose the real test will be how my hands feel when I'm stopped, or when I'm not going this fast anymore. I would not have guessed that this was going to be the best bike in the garage for highway travel. How funny. It'll be interesting to test bikes like the DR and the XR and the 701 side by side with this on the highway. We'll have to do that sometime too, just to make sure. It's kind of hard to keep track of something like that, or to even quantify it, unless you're going right from one to the other. And I guess people have asked me that too. If I was only to have one bike in the garage, which one would it be? And I said the DRZ4S just because I'm kind of the most intrigued by it because of everything that I've seen from it so far. But man, I mean, this sure seems like a awesome candidate for the type of riding that I need to do, and an even better candidate for a light adventure build. This might be the best bike for a light adventure build that there is, especially with the reliability and everything. I mean, sure, the tank size isn't great, but I don't know that I'd really want to sit on this seat for more than 120 some miles anyway. And I think you could maybe squeeze almost 140 out of it. I'd get about 60 miles to the gallon with it, maybe a little more. My hands feel totally fine. I mean, totally fine. And we put on, I mean, maybe it wasn't 30 miles. How did Jason end up behind me again? Yeah, man, after that many miles, I cannot believe how great my hands feel. What an awesome bike. I guess now maybe I can feel it in my hands a little bit since I stopped, but that thing is relatively smooth at 70. I think it's almost smoother than this.
Yeah, probably.
Weird.
I was like, oh.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, I don't know what they did inside of that motor and transmission, but it is smooth. No ethanol added premium recreational gasoline.
Yeah, 52, 53, somewhere around there.
53? That's not bad.
Alright, I gotta go.
Alright, see ya! So what did I end up with? 42.707. 59 miles to the gallon. That's actually worse. That's about the same, right? Yeah, I think it's about the same. And to clear it, I'm going to hold that down. Yeah, I mean, I think I would certainly prefer riding this bike. Well, of course, off-road, because that's where I prefer to be any time. But I think this bike is more enjoyable at lower speeds. But I mean, it is not a bad bike to ride in the highway. I cannot believe that I'm going to say this, but I think I would take this, other than the seat, over either of my other bikes. Granted, I do like to have a little bit of wind protection. That is something that, like I said, we will probably add to this eventually. But man, this is an amazing bike with just an amazing range of capabilities, meaning can chug along at 6 miles an hour without even putting a hand on the throttle for slower speed stuff, but also, I mean, it's humming along at 70, but it is not nearly, I think, as bad as a lot of people assumed that it was going to be when they found out that it wasn't going to have a 6 gear. Man, I just cannot believe that. What a nice package that this bike is. And I think it makes the price make a lot more sense too, because I mean, this is really a bike that can do a lot for, I mean, under $10,000. I mean, sure, it's not an adventure bike like the Tenere 700 is, and I've had a lot of people say that, you know, you could buy a T7 for that almost. And you could, and that's great if you want a T7, but if you want a light dual sport that can do 6 miles an hour on single track and only weigh 330 some pounds, is extremely snappy and fun to ride everywhere, all the way up to 70 miles an hour. I don't think there's a better bike than this. I mean, it is just such a good machine. But of course, we've only got 403 miles on it, so more to come on the DRZ4S. Not even broke in yet, so we'll do some more testing. We'll eventually do some mods. If you guys want to make sure you see those videos, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button. I'd love to have you watch it along each week. Until next time, take care, stay safe, stay swanky. Get out here and enjoy this beautiful world God created any chance you get. If you can't do that right now, here's more videos to check out in the meantime. Catch you guys in the next one.